Hey everyone, Ariel Labs here with a blog to watch. Please subscribe to our videos on YouTube and like this video if you find it useful. This is a review of the 2014 Omega Speedmaster Mark II with the black dial. How many reviews of the Speedmaster Mark II can a blog to watch do? Well, we'll just add another one to the list. Our writer James Stacy did a very similar review of the Speedmaster Mark II, but with the orange and gray dial. And now I'm doing the black dial. Is this review going to be different? Do you have to watch them both? Well, if you love this watch as much as we do, you probably will. And, you know, different writers on a blog to watch review watches a little bit differently. And James has a very good eye for mechanics, and his review is excellent. And frankly, I don't think we necessarily needed another one. But I love this watch so much, I just had to do it, and I had to create my own video discussing to you personally why I like this. And the fact that it's a different dial, I think makes it a little bit different of a watch. So let's just explain this to people that aren't quite familiar with what's going on. Now, Omega Speedmaster is a name you all know, and if you don't, and you like watches, you should become quite familiar with it. The Omega Speedmaster is a great sort of first mechanical watch, a great everyday sports watch. I mean, I think that most people would agree you cannot really have a mechanical watch collection and not have some type of Speedmaster in there. And thankfully, there are so many varieties of Speedmaster, you are not going to be without options. I mean, Omega comes out with several new Speedmasters every single year, including limited edition models as well as models for their permanent collection. This is part of their permanent collection. So if you've been keeping track of what Omega's been doing the last couple of years, you'll notice that they're very keen on re-releasing pieces of their past, but with modern technology or modern movements or just more modern construction. And that's sort of what you're seeing here. This is actually almost an entry-level Speedmaster. Not quite, but closer to the entry level. Has a movement that most Speedmasters don't have. So, you know, if you're really into Omega, I think that there's a lot of parts here that, that are going to be attractive. What's also good about this watch as a 2014 model is it doesn't have, strictly speaking, one of Omega's in-house movements. It has a hybrid movement, which is part ETA. Now, Omega is part of the Swatch Group, which owns ETA, so they have access to it, and part in-house made. And I'll get to that in a second, but why is that important? Well, if you've heard of something called Master Coaxial, then you know. Master Coaxial is a anti-magnetic version of Omega in-house movements, which they're slowly rolling out. So basically, all the Speedmaster watches now that have the in-house made 9300 movement, which is a Speedmaster coaxial chronometer or whatever, which we've reviewed, which has a 9300 movement, which is a fantastic movement, by 2017 we'll have Master Coaxial, which is coaxial mixed with basically a bunch of non-ferrous metallic parts so that the watch is almost entirely immune from magnetism. Now, are you going to be around crazy magnetic fields like that all the time? No, but that's not really what watches are about. When you get high-end sport watches, the whole idea is to have a timepiece which sort of goes above and beyond what you need. So investing in a watch like this right now is not a bad idea because you're never going to be in fear of it being replaced with something that has Master Coaxial, which I think is a big deal. So the movement here is the Omega 3330. That's the 3330. And that movement, I think it's great. Of course, it's an automatic chronograph movement, and what it builds on top of the base ETA is it has a coaxial escapement, so it's very much an Omega in the sense that it has coaxial. It has a column wheel chronograph, and the chronograph works really great. It's a 12-hour chronograph, and it also has a silicon balance spring. So you have a bunch of very attractive components in there that make for an excellent modern watch at a price point, which I think is really great. Now, I said this is sort of a modern re-release of a historic model, and that's true. After Omega came out with the Speedmaster, which they eventually called the Speedmaster Professional, they decided, hey, you know, we've been doing this round case thing for so long, let's mix it up a little bit with something else. So what they essentially did was create a tonneau case. And a tonneau case means barrel-shaped, and that's why it was basically called the Speedmaster Mark II. Now, after the Mark II, there was the Mark III, the Mark IV, the Mark 4.5. I'm not even sure how many marks it went up to before they stopped saying that, until it basically went back to the what they call the Speedmaster Professional, which was the round case that everyone knows that's been around since the 60s. So the re-release of the Mark II is cool because the Mark II is a very popular vintage model, and this looks very, very similar. It's almost identical. If you put side by side to an old Mark II, which we've done, there are of course differences. This one's a little bit larger. Of course, the bracelet's going to be higher quality, better finishing on the case. But overall, it's a very, very similar look. And one of the things that the Mark II is distinguished by was this, this bezel here. So there's a sapphire crystal and there's a lifted tachymeter. And so what they did here is they have the tachymeter lifted. And what's really cool about it is there's luminance underneath that tachymeter scale. So when this glows at night, that whole tachymeter scale glows as well, in addition to the hands and the hour markers, which is really, really cool. For a Speedmaster, this has excellent, excellent lume. You also have the date right there in the subsidiary dial there over 6 o'clock, which is good. The finishing on this case is just great. I love this strip right here, this polished strip. It's brushed. This is very much a classic Speedmaster deployant. And what's great here is that this watch has one of the features that's new for 2014, which is this micro adjust. So they have this on the new Seamaster 300 and also here on the Mark II, where you can push this in and you can get 1 millimeter increments of extra space to open and close the bracelet a little bit, you know, as your wrist expands. And that's just fantastic. The bracelet is incredibly comfortable, doesn't pull your hair, it looks good, nice thin profile deployment there. Just an excellent quality watch overall, and I really don't have enough good things to say about this because this is a type of watch where we easily say, if you want a Speedmaster and you want something that's a little bit different but also really, really awesome, put your money in this. The price is right. Omega there's you know, it's not about drawbacks, but I have nothing to complain about. Usually I have something to complain about. Usually I have some nitpick. I mean, I guess I could say it's expensive, but overall I have nothing to complain about. This is a wonderful re-release of a model which sort of gained a cult status by being cool. It looks nice. One thing I say about this watch is interesting. I call it the ultimate dad watch, and people that know me have heard me say this. And they're like, what does that mean, the ultimate dad watch? And I'll explain that. If you think about who you want your dad to be, or what this sort of archetypal kind of dad is a dad isn't someone who should be showy, but a dad is someone who should have good taste and help you enjoy good things. A dad likes tools, and so this is a quality made tool watch based upon, of course, this very utilitarian lineage of the Speedmaster. It's a nice watch, but it's not overly nice. It doesn't have blingy elements to it. It's not gold. It's just a great combination of features that says this person has good taste, likes to reward themselves, has sort of a timeless sense of class and style to them, but is very much someone who isn't interested in luxury or status, just likes to have nice things for themselves and likes to rely on good instruments. And that's something I feel that this watch communicates, and it communicates it in a particularly good way. So overall, you know, the Speedmaster Mark II struck a lot of positive chords with me, and that's hard to do. There's not that many watches every year that come out that I just find to be, you know, just so cool in so many ways. Is this the watch I'd want to wear every single day on my wrist for the rest of my life? No, but I don't think there's any watches like that. But if I definitely had to narrow down my collection to just 4 or 5 watches, it would definitely have a Speedmaster, and it could very well be this one. This is one that I really enjoy a lot. I think it's really cool that Omega came out with it. What's interesting is when Omega came out with this and I saw it at Baselworld, I didn't automatically jump to it and be like, oh yeah, that's the greatest one. I was like, oh, okay, that's nice. And it had to sort of grow on me a little while till I appreciated that what was so good about this one, and just thought this was a great piece. Anyways, I'm gonna be quiet about this. You've already either, you know, tired about it or want to go research more. We have plenty of content on the Speedmaster Mark II and a blog to watch, because I think there's a lot of us on the site which are fans, and I'm really glad that all of my writers are into it as much as I am. The retail price for this is $6,250, and you can see more, lots more, on a blog to watch. Thanks.